Overnight, a cruel new law penned by the nobles plunged one family into the lowest echelons of society. The father lost his job. The mother began to meet cold stares while doing the shopping. And the daughter was expelled from school. Ever since that day, the pent-up despair of her parents has become a daily expression of rage. The girl is too young to intervene and can but stand by as her parents hurl contempt and insults in equal measure. But in her secret heart, she knows exactly what to say. I just want you to get along again. You used to laugh, to sing, to be happy. But now you don't, and there is nothing I can do about it. Realizing this is a thing beyond her ability to repair, the girl is thrust into a spiral of endless darkness. But she pushes the feeling back and abruptly springs up from her chair. She has just come up with an idea. An idea that will make her parents love again. Her heart leaping with joy, she dashes from the room and out the door. Father, mother, daughter. It is a perfectly normal family, one found anywhere and everywhere. But an unfair law forces this family to be the subject of poverty and discrimination. The parents curse their own misfortune and permit their resentments to run wild. But the wounded girl has come up with a plan to bring them together once more. In her room, she unfurls a dirty scrap of paper and takes up her pencil. Her eyes narrow in concentration as the lead skitters across the page. Soon, the image begins to take shape. Though crude, it is clearly a picture of her mother and father holding hands. The daughter carefully puts the finishing touches on the picture, pouring her entire heart and soul into its creation. All the while, she thinks back on her precious memories of a household filled with happiness. She completes the drawing by giving the subjects a pair of gentle smiles. She wants them to be like the picture, to get along again. This is her most fervent wish. The girl has drawn her parents in happier days with a crude and unpracticed hand. She feels confident they will stop fighting once she shows them her creation. She knows it will make them remember better times. Her mother sits silently at the table. With hope in her heart, she shuffles up and places the picture in front of her. But the wife is still not recovered from the latest argument with her husband, and she shoves the drawing aside without a glance. "Go away," she mutters. "I don't feel like playing right now." Her weary eyes never leave the surface of the table. The girl stands rooted in place, unsure of what to do next. Eventually, she comes to a realization. She is sad, unbearably sad, and this sadness is threatening to consume her. This feeling, this pain, is so overwhelming that she cannot even begin to express it. The next thing she knows, she is running from the house with tears streaming down her face. Behind her, she hears her father begin to yell. Maybe he yells at her, or maybe her parents are fighting again. But she continues to run, and the raging voice eventually fades to nothing. Ignored by her mother, the girl fled her house carrying a heart heavy with despair. Having regained some modicum of control, she now sits silently and still in the cool night air. Not wanting her parents to worry, she finally forces her feet to begin the long trek home. A journey made all the harder by the anchor of her weary soul. I wonder if they're still fighting. The girl approaches a window and peers inside to find her parents sitting across the table from one another. Her mother is speaking. Their life has been one of constant discrimination and poverty ever since the law was unveiled. Their formerly strained livelihoods became even more difficult. The girl can tell from her mother's face that she has reached her limit. But this time, her father does not berate his wife. Instead, he simply sits and listens to her words. Because even I. As tears begin to flow, her mother abandons her husband at the table and vanishes deeper into the house. Rather than follow, the man unfolds a dingy piece of paper and stares at it. It is the girl's picture, the same one her mother rejected earlier that day. Quietly, her father stands and sets the crude drawing gently on a shelf. The daughter knows that shelf well. It is the place where he keeps his most precious things. It holds letters he and his wife exchanged during their courtship, pressed flowers given to him by his daughter, and seashells collected by the family during a rare day of rest at the beach. The daughter is not alone in her dream. All of them want things to go back to how they were. Sniffling, the girl rubs her red and tired eyes and opens the door to her house. "I'm home," she says quietly. And as her voice echoes throughout the home, it brings with it the faintest glimmer of hope.
This is where I play. An old ruin a little ways from my house. It's my special place, and I don't want to tell anyone about it. I always come here when I want to be alone. But one day, there was someone else here, which had never happened before. It was an older girl reading a book in the shade. I remember she looked kinda sad. I could tell right away she was a noble. Her clothes were beautiful. And she was the prettiest person I'd ever seen in my life. After a second, she saw me staring and gave me a weird smile. "You want this book?" she asked me. "I'm done with it." I took it from her, but I was really nervous the whole time. I'd never actually talked to a noble before. The book she gave me was a collection of children's stories. It had tons of pretty pictures. And I've read it every single day since. Each story was about a princess who fell in love with a prince. It was so different from my own life, and it helped me forget how sad everything was for me, if just for a little while. But the book was also weird. All the pictures of the princesses had been scratched over with black ink. And the last page of every story was torn out. While I was certain all the princesses would live happily ever after, I also wanted to know how the stories ended. Which meant I needed to find the noble girl. Eventually, I decided to go into town and look for her. It's not just that I wanted to know how the stories ended. I also wanted to see her again. Because even though I knew we were worlds apart, I still thought I might be able to be her friend. There was a lively wedding taking place in town that day. And while the pretty bride in her white dress was surrounded by crowds of people, she looked so very lonely. I recognized the bride right away. It was the noble girl. Part of me wanted to run up and congratulate her, but I hesitated. Because even though everyone around her was smiling big, she looked like she was screaming on the inside. I had a dream. In it, the noble girl in her white dress was trying to tell me something. "Don't lose your will," she said. As she talked, red started to spread out from her chest, staining her nice white dress. The color was far too sad for the nice, noble girl, and I woke up from the dream in a panic. I went back to playing alone in the ruins. But one day, I noticed something stuck between a couple of stones. It was one of the missing story endings. It showed the prince and princess at their happy wedding. Later, I started hearing rumors in town. Did you hear that noble lady ran away barefoot? Did you hear she was cackling madly? Did you hear she killed herself? But I know they're not talking about the nice noble girl. Because all princesses get to live happily ever after.
Once, a small girl lived in a town far away. Her family is poor, and though times are rough, she lives her life to its fullest as best she can. Her days are often spent playing alone in a ruin outside of town. She has no friends, so this rundown building is her only companion. Her days are ones of hardship. But today, she is filled with life and energy. Or so she desperately wants to believe. For today is her birthday. But there is no delicious feast waiting for her. No presents. And no one to celebrate her special day, not even her parents. So instead, she celebrates alone. Happy birthday, she cries to herself, causing warmth to blossom in her chest. She spins in a circle, imagining herself as a beautiful ballerina. She sings, she dances, she tries all the fun things she can think to do. Because this is her birthday party. A day to forget the pain of everyday life. And more than anything else, she wants this day to be special. The lonely birthday party continues. The next event takes place on a craggy stone table. The girl begins forming something out of dirt and mud. It is a grand birthday cake, one far too big for a single person to consume. It seems impossible that someone so small can construct such a thing, let alone that she could build it at all. for her mother and father have never celebrated her birthday. Though she had always wanted a party, she knew her parents were too destitute to do such a thing. And as a result, she has no idea what a real cake is supposed to look like, or taste like, or smell like. The only thing she knows for certain is that they are delightful. More than anything, she wants to share a cake with her family someday. And with that dream in mind, she continues to build her creation. Her dirt cake slowly takes shape. Though it is a tad off kilter, she finally completes it. But as she gazes at her creation, she notices something is missing. She needs to add something very, very important. And she knows exactly what it is. The cake has no candles. She begins searching for branches that can act as a suitable substitute. She knows she needs as many straight little twigs as her age. After a bit, she begins breaking off branches and whittling them down. She will not compromise on the candles. A cake only becomes grand with proper candles, after all. Suddenly, a sweet scent wafts over her. It is the most lovely thing she has ever smelled. Was someone baking treats nearby, maybe? The question lingers in her mind as she finishes collecting her sticks. But when she turns back to her cake, she is greeted by an unbelievable sight. Her creation of dirt and mud has transformed into a real cake. The cake the girl worked so hard to make has somehow become real. White cream, colorful fruit. The girl cannot hide her joy. Her cheers of celebration quickly turn into song. The happiest birthday song ever sung fills the quiet of the ruin. And in the far-off shadows, something watches. It is a strange creature, neither human nor animal. It had been unable to turn away from the girl as she played, and could not help but interfere. Even though such a thing is forbidden. Just for today. This strange creature holds the warmest wishes for the girl, and seeing her smiling face, it knows these wishes have come true. Happy birthday, little one. Here's a present from Mama.